Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K YouTube Live. And today I'm going to show you how I used the Pretty Decorative Trees stamp set bundle from Stampin' Up! To make a Christmas card. I love this bundle. We actually Mary Deathridge and I just had our class with this bundle over the weekend, and we had a good time, and I think everybody liked the projects and enjoyed the event as well. But I thought I would pull together another card, and I'm trying to get straight here on the screen. I know it's all kinds of crazy crooked. So hopefully the live video will start so I can kind of see exactly where we are. And yeah, I think we're good. I don't know. I keep moving things around, and I'm not sure if that's making it better or worse. So, all right, let me try one more time, wiggle it down here a little bit and see if we get a little more centered and hopefully be fairly straight. So, okay, I think we are good to go. So, like I said, we are going to be using the Stampin' Up! Decorative Trees stamp set bundle for a pretty, well, what I think was a pretty Christmas card. So, I see Sally and Robin are here. This one's actually really, it's a lot easier than it looks. And it's actually just mostly a little die cutting. And then I added just a touch of Pool Party ink to the little trees, the background trees, and then overlaid some die cuts over the top of them. So it's kind of a white on white card. It's got an embossed background, and it probably doesn't show up perfectly on the video just because it's hard to see. So I'm trying to hold it at a little bit of an angle so you can see the embossing on the background and hopefully see a little bit of the color of the trees that I added as well. So, hey, Karen and Pam and Amy and Carol, thanks for hopping in today. So that's the card we're going to be making. And again, this is the stamp set. It's called Decorative Trees. It's obviously perfect for Christmas. Got all sorts of Christmas sentiments and things in it, holiday images. Very cute, and just a fun one to use. It's photopolymer, so it's easy to see through and stamp with, which I love that as well. And then I've got the Decorative Trees dies that coordinate with it. This large open die actually will cut out this tree, and it's smaller on the stamp case than it is in real life, so it doesn't match up perfectly with the stamp case. It also will cut out this tree. And then the rest of these are basically, well, I guess there's a star that there's a star that you can stamp and die cut. The ornaments you can stamp and die cut. But the rest of these are all just accessory pieces, overlays for the trees. There's little garland dies here, bows, and they're really cute. This actually is a tree trunk, which it looks a little weird, but it's two different sizes of a tree trunk. So there's a little skinny one that fits if you want it to be a really small tree trunk over the top, or you can make it a little bit larger tree trunk when you die cut these. So one nice thing, this I forgot, actually cuts the little bow here. So if you want to have a hanging down bow, you can have that. And I think that's it. So again, the rest of these are just overlay dies, and it's an awesome die set. If you don't have adhesive sheets and you're going to get this stamp set, I would highly recommend getting some adhesive sheets. Even Mary, who fought me forever saying she hated adhesive sheets, actually discovered that she really likes them, particularly with this set, because the pieces, the die cut pieces in here are so intricate that it's really challenging to use liquid glue, and she will even admit that. And she's the liquid glue queen. So this is actually, it's a good one to have adhesive sheets with. The stamp set is available, yes, and the dies are currently on back order. They're showing as restocking around October 7th, so hopefully they'll be back very soon. They should be back shortly. Within a couple days. So again, let me know if you have any other questions. So this is the Decorative Trees dies, and again, the Decorative Trees stamp set. A couple other things that I used on this card is I did use one of the label dies from the Christmas labels dies. This is from a different bundle actually, but it fit around the sentiment the way I wanted it to. So I used it on this card. And then, almost threw those right on the floor. And then I also used the Spotlight on Nature dies, and these have been in and out of stock like 500 times since the catalog started. They are currently out of stock, but they are also supposed to be back around October 7th, so they should be coming back in soon along with the Decorative Trees, so you'll be able to get them all together. And I used this die, which is the great big circle die here, for the background on my card, so I used that underneath the trees. It was a lot of fun. And I'm glad that you liked it too, Rosie, and I thought the card designs were fun. So, all right, this is the Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder, and hopefully you can kind of see it a little bit. That is what I used on the background of the card. So that's, again, just the embossed panel on the background of the card did with this little embossing folder. Another quick and easy, something to add just a little texture to the background, and I think it makes it really pretty. So, hey, Debbie, thanks for hopping in from Illinois. Glad you're here. And if anybody's tuning in from down south, my goodness, I hope you all are safe down there. I just can't even believe what a mess that hurricane left down in Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee. Goodness, what a mess. The whole towns are gone. It's so crazy. So hopefully y'all are doing well. And I know there are lots of people without power down there and who've kind of lost everything. So my goodness. Anyway, all right. Couple things before we get going. Stampin' Up! Has got an awesome starter kit special happening for the month of October. So from October 1st to the 31st, if you join Stampin' Up! As a demonstrator and purchase your starter kit, basically, you get to pick $155 worth of your favorite Stampin' Up! Merchandise, and you're only going to pay $99 plus tax if that applies in your area. Your kit will ship for free, and then once you join, you get at least a 20% discount on everything that you order, which is an awesome deal in and of itself. You can come to Stampin' Up! Demonstrator only events. If you join with us, you get to be a part of our awesome little team. We do have a pretty relaxed team, just like to have a good time stamping and hanging out together, and yeah, just creating. And most people that join the team actually are just doing it for the discount, and that is perfectly fine. There's no requirement to do anything with it beyond just purchase from yourself. And even if you don't purchase from yourself, there's no requirement besides purchasing the starter kit. So let me know if you have questions about that. We'd love to have you come join us. And yeah, it's just a great deal. So definitely take a look at it. If you've been thinking about it, hop off the fence, come in and join us. So Stampin' Up! Also has a 30% off all kits that are available in the kits collection. And 30% off for the month of October, which is a great deal. And there are 2 brand new kits that actually just got put in the online store today. One is called Alpine Air, I think is the name of it, and it's card kits, and they're beautiful, like watercolored scenery type looks. And then the other one is like a mini memory keeping scrapbooking kit, and I can't remember the name of it. That's all I can remember is I know it's a little notebook, and it's really cute as well. It's like a look back or something like that. Anyway, and they are actually also included in the sale, even though they just got put in the online store today. So definitely go take a peek at the kits that are on sale. There's lots of good ones out there and available. And I agree with you, Karen. We do have a pretty awesome team. All right. One last reminder, World Card Making Day is happening on Saturday, October 5th. Stampin' Up! Is hosting an event. It is free. They're going to be doing some card making and talking about all things stamping and paper crafting. It's only an hour-long event. If you want to attend, make sure that you get registered. There's a link to register on my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com. There's also a link out on the Stampin' Up! Website at stampinup.com. Just wait till you see the World Card Making Day header and click on it to register. You do have to register if you want to attend, so make sure that you do that. And I think it's just basically name, address, or name, email address, and maybe a few details about whether you're a demonstrator or not. But it's a pretty simple process to sign up. And again, it's free. A couple other things, some new online exclusives. Stampin' Up! Just dropped today for demonstrators to pre-order. So these are available if you decide you want to join and purchase that starter kit. You can actually add some of these pre-order items to the starter kit if you would like to do that. This is a very, very small sampling of the items that are going to be available out in the online exclusives. There are tons of other things out there. Lots of cute. There's a little otter set. Oh gosh, there's a hibiscus 3D embossing folder bundle. I'm trying to remember what else. It was so early this morning when I ordered everything. I'll show it all to you a little later this week. So anyhow, so again, this is just a small sampling. Make sure that you definitely go out and take a look at it. If you are thinking of joining, go get your starter kit started, and you can see all of the upcoming products as well. Stampin' Up! Has got a sale on their paper pumpkin kit, umbrellas and rain. You're right. Yes, there's a whole, like I said, it's a whole bunch of stuff. I can't even remember. It was so darn early. I should have written down the list, but I didn't. So, all right. Stampin' Up! Has got a special on their paper pumpkin kit for the month of October. So if you sign up by, excuse me, as a new customer by October 10th, sorry, stumbling all over my words. By October 10th, you're going to get 40% off your first kit, which is the October kit. And it is Christmas cards. And I believe that it's like a trifold card. So it's kind of a fun fold design. And it's a Christmas card kit. And who doesn't love that? Need to get those Christmas cards done early. So. And then final thing, I think, Stampin' Up! Has got some new scrapbooking products that are available in the online store. So when you're out shopping that kit sale, make sure you take a peek at the online exclusives. We'll look at those too. But take a peek at the memory keeping or scrapbooking kits that they've got available out there as well. Phew, that's a lot of updates. October is a busy, busy one. So let me know if you have questions about any of those things. Again, all the details are on my blog. Most of them are on there today already at stampwithamyk.com. But I'll definitely also put links to everything on the blog post with the details for this card tomorrow so that you'll have easy reference and can find everything you need out there. All right, so to get started, I have got a thick basic white card base, and this one is cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2 across the middle. But if you prefer your standard book fold card, it will work just as well with that. So you can cut it to 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and score it at 4 1/4. This is one of those cards that it doesn't matter which way you put it together. You just get to pick whatever your favorite way is. I like the top fold cards personally, so that's what I usually do. But I know not everyone loves them. Some prefer the side fold cards, and this will certainly work with that. Just have to cut your card base a little differently and score it in a different spot. So, hey, Betty, thanks for hopping in. So, and Roxanne and Carol, I see you're here too. I don't know if I already said hi to Carol. I thought I did, but I don't know. Maybe there must be more than one Carol on here. Now I see. All right. So card base. I'm going to put some liquid glue on here, and I have a panel of just regular basic white cardstock that I have embossed with that Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder. And I did that ahead of time because it's not very exciting to watch a blank screen while I am off embossing something. So just make, if you do not have the specialty plate, which is the embossing plate, that it comes with a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but it works perfectly for the 3D embossing folders. And so it's called a specialty plate, and it fits in most of the standard die cutting machines. So if you have one of the other brands, you can buy the specialty plate, and then you'll be able to use these 3D embossing folders without all the hassles and all the shims and all that craziness. So need an idea for some cards? All right. Well, I'm glad you happened to come across me live. So, hey, Linda, thanks for joining. All right. Next thing I did, again, cut this ahead of time from basic white cardstock with one of the Spotlight on Nature dies, and it is the biggest circle die that there is in there with the dashes around it. I guess there are two that are similar in size. One's got little dashes that go around it. This one's got the little like sun ray type dashes on it. So cut that with cut just basic white cardstock with that die, and apparently I need to clean my cutting plate because there's all kinds of goobers all over the back of this, but that's okay because nobody will see it but you and me. And I'm just going to take a bunch of Stampin' Dimensionals because this is kind of a huge die cut. So I'm just going to take a bunch and stick it around the edges. I do chop my Stampin' Dimensionals in half, and I know not everyone loves that. If you like the whole dimensionals, you can certainly use whole ones. But I actually prefer the half-size ones because I think they fit perfectly in most places. And the minis, I think they're too small. I don't know. I'm picky. So, all right. And on top of that, I was cutting mine in half long before the minis arrived, and I'm old, and it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. All right, so there we go. Adhere that to the card front. Next thing that I did, then again, I did some of the die cutting ahead of time, so you didn't have to sit and watch me die cut monotonously. There you go. I don't know why I'm having trouble saying that word today. All right, so I cut 3 of the pine trees with the big open pine tree die from the Decorative Trees die. So it's this one. And I just cut basic white cardstock 3 times with that die. And I got a blending brush here, and I'm going to grab Pool Party ink. And we're just going to ink all 3 of these trees. I didn't go really heavily inked on the trees. If you want them to look, want the pool party to show up a little bit more, have them be a little darker, just add on a couple of extra layers of the Pool Party ink on each one. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit more of a subtle look, so I just went with a little lighter on the color. And they don't have to be perfectly done and all even and all that sort of thing, because most of this is going to be covered up by die cut overlays anyway. Like I said, I just wanted a little contrast on the trees to make the Pool Party pop through with the white and gold die cuts overlaid. So, oh, thanks, Rosie. All right. So I'm just gonna add a little more ink to these. All right, set this one aside. And then I've got the last one here. Just adding a little ink with the blending brush. And if you don't have the blending brushes, just get a set. You're going to love them. You don't need to have one for every color if you want to. I would never say don't do it. But, you know, you don't have to have one for every color. I use mine, and then I rinse them out with just clear water and let them dry in between times, and then you can mix and match and use whatever color you want. Sometimes they get a little stained, but that's fine. The colors don't mix as long as you rinse out the ink in between times. So. All right, so there we go. We got our trees all inked. All right. Hey, Julie, thanks for hopping in. So I've got the little stars here. And again, these are from the Decorative Trees stamp set. Blah, blah. And I've got the Pool Party ink, and I'm just going to stamp the little stars over just one of the trees. And that's my tree that's in the center that I'm stamping the stars all over. And again, if you want to have a few more stars, you can add a few more. If you want to have a few less stars, you can have a few less. I kind of went about what I think would be a medium number of stars. We'll call that good. And I will close it up and set it aside. Then I did one of the die cuts ahead of time, but I wanted to show you how I do my die cutting, particularly with this set, with the adhesive sheets. Adhesive sheets are an awesome little tool. And like I said, Mary forever fought with me about adhesive sheets. She said she didn't like them, she hated them, they didn't work, they whatever, until she got this die set. And then she decided that they're pretty awesome. And they actually really are. When you're using these really intricate and thin die cuts, they're like the best thing ever. So I've got basic white cardstock, and I've got a piece of gold foil sheets. I'm going to flip that with the gold side down. So you're going to use the back side, basically, of the two pieces of cardstock. Is the name of the embossing folder. It is called Snowflake Sky. And I always have to stop and think about it because I want to call it Snowfall Sky, and that's not it. It's Snowflake Sky. I'm not sure if it's in any catalog anymore, but I know you can find it in the online store if you search for Snowflake Sky in there. So. All right, so I'm just going to place my little tree dies on the top of my pieces of cardstock that I want to cut here. And then adhesive sheets, they come in a 6x12 piece. It's way too big to handle a 6x12 piece of it. So I cut these into 1-inch strips. I cut the 6x12 into basically 1-inch strips. And then it's a much more manageable size that I can use for most things. The other thing to know about adhesive sheets is you don't have to have the entire back of whatever you're die cutting covered with them. And actually, it's a little easier if you don't have it completely covered. Oh, it's in the annual catalog. Thanks, Rosie. I couldn't remember if it was an online exclusive or not. So it's a little easier if you actually don't have the entire back covered with the adhesive sheets, because then you've got a little spot to kind of start picking the adhesive or the covering off the adhesive when you've got your die cut. And they stick on just as well. You don't need to have the whole thing covered. So I've taken one and I put it on sort of straight up like this. And then I'm going to do a second one here at the bottom and make almost like a T with it. So hopefully you can see that on here. So I have this piece here. This is about a 1-inch piece. And this piece here, and that's about a 1-inch piece. And they, the little sections of the adhesive sheets, these are pre-scored or pre-cut at 2 inches. So basically you get a 2x1 piece of adhesive sheets. You can cut them smaller than that if you need to, but I do love the 1-inch size. Seems to work perfectly for almost everything that I die cut with them. All right, so I've got one done. I need to quit yakking and start working. All right, and then I got my second one here, my smaller tree. Oop, the gluber there. And then I'm going to grab another little piece of the adhesive sheets here and stick it right over the top. There we go. Now, when I go to put this through my die cutting machine, the only thing I want to do is make sure that I put my die basically in the same place that I've got most of my adhesive sheets. So flipping it over, got the die basically right here. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So I'm going to put the adhesive sheets down, and then I'm going to place my die right over the top of it. And I'm going to go run these through the die cutting machine. So I'll be right back. When I use the adhesive sheets, I do tend to roll my die back and forth at least 2 times through the die cutting machine. If you want to go 3 or 4 times through, you certainly can do that. I just want to make sure that I get a really good cut the first time so that I don't wrestle it out of the die and then realize it's not cut, and then you've got a mess and you have to start all over, and then you're sad because you've ruined your beautiful foil paper and the whole 9 yards. So we all know how this goes. All right, so I've got my gold foil. And just going to use, this is an old style die brush, and I do actually have a new one, but I've been too lazy to get it out of the box. I just haven't done it. So got my die brush, and I've got my little gold foil popped out here. And then I'm going to take my white die cut tree and do the same thing here. Just pop out. Let me put, I got to make sure I put my dies back on the sheet so that I can find them again later. And also don't panic when you're using the adhesive sheets. Sometimes the pieces don't want to pop out very easily, but it's actually, I find usually the adhesive backing that's holding everything in place. So usually when I pull off the adhesive sheet backing, all the little chads, or most of them, will come off with the die cut. So we'll test out my theory again. That's how it usually works. But now that I'm on screen and talking and yakking about how this usually works for me, then it probably won't. But so, all right. So let me, again, if you can use paper snips or whatever you have that's got kind of a pointy edge on it. You just kind of want to get underneath that adhesive sheet and then gently pull it. As I say, yes, it'll come right apart. It actually usually does. So I've got a big chunk of it here coming out. Okay, then I'm going to take the bottom and do the same thing down here. Get this one out, maybe. There we go. Kind of using my little take your pick tool, pull things apart, pry it apart. And like I said, with these intricate little dies, you can use liquid glue with them, but I will say to me it's a real challenge to use liquid glue because I usually end up gluing myself to everything, and then nothing sticks to the project because it's all glued to me and not where it should be. So I usually tend to use the adhesive sheets. I'm just trying to be a little careful, trying not to rip the die cut. Oop, I got one more spot I need to pick here, it looks like. Get out of the way. There we go, just have to find the little edge. And again, the take your pick tool to me is one of the easier tools, the little pointy end on it. One of the easier tools to get the adhesive sheets started peeling. Looking at this and you're like, what in the world is that crazy lady doing? But I promise it'll come out. You just have to get all the little backing things peeled off of it. There we go. All right, so that actually took out most of the little hanging chads. There are a couple that I need to poke out here, but you got your little pokey tool, so just grab that, poke out all the little extras that didn't come out. So, all right. And then we'll just pick them off here. Again, they're a little sticky because they've got the adhesive on them already, but that is fine. The adhesive sheets are a permanent adhesive, but it's not super permanent as long as you haven't smushed everything down. So if you have something that like that where I had popped the little gold piece out and it stuck back on itself, they peel off pretty easily. as long as you haven't smushed everything down really well. All right, so there's my beautiful gold foil die cut. And I'm going to put the gold foil on my stamped tree, and I'm basically just going to start up here at the top. I found it easiest to go top to bottom on these, and I've got gold foil stuck on my fingers. So I found it easiest to go top to bottom. And again, like I said, these are not like the adhesive sheets they're sticky obviously, but they're not super permanent until you really smush it down. So you kind of have a little bit of room to wiggle stuff around and maneuver it around on the die cut before it's going to be stuck down forever and ever. So just make sure that everything's in the place where you want it to be before you do the final smushing on it, which this looks like it's pretty well where I want it to be. So I'm going to do my final smush on it. And then we've got our layered tree all put together. So that's tree number 1. This one I did ahead of time, and I had already stuck the adhesive sheets on the back of it. And just have to find the spot where I can start picking them. Should have probably started picking it ahead. There we go. There's one chunk. Oop, there we go. Now I got the bottom here that I need to peel the adhesive sheets off that. Apparently I must have stuck this one on all sorts of crazy because there's all kinds of little pieces of it rather than having one big one. Normally I try to do it in just like 1 or 2 chunks, but apparently I was getting creative with my die cutting when I did this one. All right, so again, I've got another one of my trees, and just be aware and don't panic. This is not going to fit perfectly on this tree. Well, it'll fit perfectly on the top part of the tree, but the bottom is not going to be covered with this die cut, and I'll show you how we fix that in just a second. You will be amazed at my amazing fussy cutting skills on this one. And I have absolutely no fussy cutting skills, so again, don't panic. You don't have to have skills in order to cut this apart. All right, so again, just wiggling it around with those adhesive sheets and giving it a final smush here, making sure everything is stuck down where I want it to be. And then I will take my little paper snips and again show you my awesome fussy cutting skills and just cut right along the bottom of that die cut and trim off the excess of the tree. And then one final tree to get stuck down, if I can get my mess out of the way here. Goodness, little bits and pieces everywhere. All right, so again, I've got 2 kind of big chunks of the adhesive sheets on the back of this one. So we're just going to pick those off and hopefully pull out most of the hanging chads with it. Maybe. Come on. Oop. All right. Easy as can be, she says, hopefully. All right. Oh, there we go. It's starting to pull apart. Sometimes it's easier than others, clearly. There we go. Got a big chunk of it off and most of the chads with it. And then I see what happens. I overlapped it and I didn't even realize that I'd done it. So I overlapped and I have 2 adhesive sheets on here. I was trying to figure out why it was so, I'm like, why is this peeling so strangely? Oh, because I layered 2 adhesive sheets, one on top of the other. So, but that's all right because it still works. All right, I'm gonna just pick out a couple of the little chads here. And whoop, there's a big chad there. Little one hanging here on the edge. Make sure that we've got most of them out, and it looks like we do. All right, so same thing on this tree. Oh, it's actually not too bad, Carol, so I don't know. To me, it's easier. You can use liquid glue with it, but I don't know. I just found it too frustrating because the glue oozed out everywhere, so. All right, just smush them together, trimming off the bottom. I mean, I probably wouldn't want to make 1,000 of these cards or anything, but the trees actually go together pretty quickly once you get the die cutting all done on them. All right, so there we go. Our 3 pretty trees are all ready to roll. And I'm going to go back and pull my card front over here again and get some glue dots and some Stampin' Dimensionals. All right. Just going to take a couple glue dots and put them on the back. If you want to use Stampin' Seal, you can use Stampin' Seal. If you want to use liquid glue, that would work just as well too. So you can, I've got about 4 of them and bits of stuff stuck on my fingers still. Got about 4 of them here, and I'm just going to kind of gently place this one down here. And then I'll put the other tree on and make sure that everything is kind of centered and where I want it to be before I do the final smush down. Because again, like the adhesive sheets, the glue dots, you can actually kind of maneuver them around a little bit. If you've set something down and you go, oop, that's not quite where I want it to be, you can usually pull it right back up, move it around, and move it to where you want it to go. And then I'm going to take some Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm actually going to put one here, actually right in the center of the panel here. And then I did one at the bottom and one at the top, sort of in the center. And we'll peel the backing off of all of those and place this one on. Just use what, okay. I mean, if you want to and you like using liquid glue, that is awesome. But I will tell you that I have, Mary on my team did some of these trees as well. And she said that she's an excellent person at using liquid glue. And she said the glue just went everywhere. So we found the adhesive sheets easier. But if you find liquid glue easier, go right ahead, and that's the bonus of stamping the card. You can do it however you want to, and if liquid glue works great for you, that's awesome. It doesn't work great for me because I make a huge mess with it. So, all right, gonna grab my little embossing buddy and rub it over a piece of basic white cardstock, and then I've got the sentiment here from the Decorative Trees stamp set and Versamark ink. Just gonna ink that up, stamp it on basic white cardstock. And then grab my gold embossing powder, and this is some of the Basics Wow embossing powders. And they are very much a wow. They're very bright, and I actually really like them. So if you're in the market and need some new embossing powders, the Wow basic or the Metallics Wow embossing powders come with gold, silver, and copper. And then there's the basics that are white, black, and clear. And so they're a pretty awesome little bit of embossing powder. So, all right, got the Stampin' Up! Heat tool. I'm just letting it heat up a second. So there's a level 1 setting on it, and that is for drying. So if you're doing something where you've watercolored and want to speed up the drying process a little bit, you can use the level 1 setting. And then level 2 setting is for heat embossing. And so I'm letting it heat up just a second, point it off into nowhere before I turn it towards the project. And then once it starts to turn that smooth, shiny, then you know that it's done cooking, and you want to keep it moving so you don't accidentally burn your embossing powder. The metallics powders turn brown and not so very pretty and dull if you overheat them, so you just want to be careful not to do that. So, all right. Much neater than glue. Yeah, I know, I agree that, yeah, the glue, liquid glue it was too messy for me. I couldn't do it. It just oozed everywhere, and they're really skinny little pieces, so I don't know. You'd have to be, maybe if you used a toothpick or something to put it on, but to me that's more fiddly than the adhesive sheets are. So, but whatever works best for you, that's, like I said, that's the awesome part about stamping is you get to pick what you want to do with it. So I'll just show you how I do it. All right, Christmas labels are this set of dies, and so I'm using the one that's the more rectangular die. And it fits pretty nicely right around this sentiment. So I'm going to go run this through my die cutting machine. And this die, you do have to be a little careful when you're pulling it out because it's got kind of like a, I don't even know how to describe it. It's got spots where you can like weave ribbon through it. And so there are little slots on it, and it's cut. And it kind of, like I said, you have to be a little careful if you don't want to rip your die cut, taking it out of the die. So just be aware of that one with this thing. So, all right, I got stuff stuck everywhere. My desk is a disaster zone. Okay. So I'm going to take a couple little Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to put dimensionals under this area and a glue dot under this area, since I want this to be raised up so that it's even with my circle here. And then I want this to be flat so it'll lay right on top of the circle. So, all right, if I can find my Stampin' Dimensionals, I will add a couple of those. One over here, and looks like I need to cut some new ones here. So this is a full-size sheet of Stampin' Dimensionals, trying to get it so you can see a little bit where maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure if they're going to show up where you can see the little honeycomb image on here, but I'm basically just going to cut straight across one of the rows here to get my half Stampin' Dimensionals. And stick one down here and maybe one more here towards the bottom. And then grab a glue dot and stick on near the top part up here in the upper left corner of it. And then again, just pick my backing off these. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you're liking the card. Like I said, I was pretty happy with the way it turned out. It actually was sort of inspired. There's a tag that's in the Stampin' Up! Catalog that's got a tree that looks similar to this one in it, and that was kind of what started the card. Is I started with that and then kind of built it around that because I liked the way that looked, so I went with that and kind of turned it into a card. So all right, I've got a couple of the gold textured adhesive back dots, and these actually come in 3 different sizes. There's a large, a medium, and a small, and we're just going to pick 2 of them. I'm going to use a large one, and then I think I'll use a small one again on this, and we're just going to put these here next to the sentiment, and that's going to be it for the card front. Inside of the card is pretty simple as well, just a couple of stamped images, and we'll be all done with this one. So got Lost Lagoon ink, and why I picked Lost Lagoon, I don't know, I just thought it kind of complemented the pool party, but was a little bit darker because I wanted my sentiment to stand out a little bit. And we'll try to get this stamped on here fairly straight. Okay, so we got our sentiment on there. And then I've got my pool party ink. Oh, thanks. I'm glad y'all are liking it. So, like I said, I love the way it turned out. And couldn't wait to show y'all today. Even if it is a little fiddly, I think it's worth it. So, all right, pool party. I'm inking up the tree. We're going to stamp it once. And then ink it up again. And we decided this was a hairy tree. That I don't know how else to describe it other than it's hairy. That's what we were calling it. That's what we decided at our class it was called. So, all right, 2 pool party hairy trees on the inside. And then we're going to stick this together with some Stampin' Seal on the inside of the card. All right. Oh, banging into my lights. And we'll stick this together with the Stampin' Seal, brush all the little bits of ick that I've got stuck all over everything off the inside of it, close it up. Because it's embossed on the front, I usually flip it over and do a really light crease with my bone folder on the back so that hopefully I don't smash all the embossing that I've just done to make the card front all pretty on it. But that's it. So it's, like I said, it's a pretty quick and easy card. Like the only thing that's a little fiddly is the little skinny die cuts, but in my opinion, I think they're really worth it and worth the effort because they're really pretty when you put them together and layer them one on top of the other to create the little trees. So thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. The details for this card will be out on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com, and I will link directly to the blog post once it goes live around 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. So you can come over and just go down to the description of this and you'll be able to link right over to the blog post. There will be a printable PDF tutorial out there. There will be links to all the products that I use to make this, as well as all the stuff that I talked about earlier on, but the joining information, the kit sale, the new kits, all that stuff. You'll find links to all that out on my blog post as well. I am not going to be here. I'm out of town on Friday, so I'm actually probably going to hop on and go live on Thursday and show you the new online exclusives that I bought, and I think I bought them all. So I have trouble controlling myself when it comes to new stamping stuff. So, but I definitely, when I get my pre-order, I will definitely hop on and show it to y'all. And again, don't forget, you can get all those pre-order items if you join this month with the ordering special or with the sign-up special. You can get the pre-order items, which is a good deal. So let me know if you have questions about anything. Again, I appreciate you being here. I will plan to be live at some point on Thursday. I don't know exactly what time it's going to be, probably a little bit earlier in the day, but I'll post a note out on my Facebook page, and hopefully if I know ahead of time, I can post it on my blog too. And then, yeah, I'll plan to be live around 2 o'clock Eastern time next week, Tuesday. So we will see you all then. And again, let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.